Welcome to the blueprint. We are the blueprint. That's right. We the blueprint. I'm a little rusty. It's been a while. We are the blueprint. Right. You got a special guest, Terrence. And of course, my co-host, Anthony.
Yes.
Wait, before we get started, you may notice we got a new look. Shout out to my guy. We the fifth in the building.
What's taking so long?
I was trying to remember Tim. We the fifth.
Yeah, we still at All-Star Barbershop at Work, Georgia.
Right.
So what you want to discuss today?
Well, before we discuss anything, I'd like to say, we always a big proponent of being against procrastination. So we contacted Tim, we the fifth, and he was like, well, I can shoot it, but my computer down, so it's going to be a minute to edit. And I was like, we're going to shoot anyway. So no matter what your situation is, just start where you are and worry about the rest. So we're near the end of 2020. It's been a lot in this year.
Yeah.
So Terrence, what are some things that you've learned this year?
Hey, you know what? Here in 2020, we know that as a country, we have really been dealing with a big change. Not only in a corporate world, but in a personal world as well. It has really been strange, fellas. You know what I mean? I remember when, at the beginning of the year, like January and February, we all was like going to work, going to barbershops, and you know what? Let me take a step back. Hey, these two cats right here, I love these guys, right? You know what I'm saying? Hey, both of these guys have treated my face when I had a beard, no shave November, and then just when I came in with a gold teeth. So it's like a big change that has come about, right? And it's like the world is at a wow moment. You can't have that moment to have with your family, with your friends, do those normal things like go out to restaurants, go to the barbershop, right? Just being able to take trips has been like a big adjustment for a lot of people as well. And then going into the workplace has really been a big change as well.
Right.
So, wow, I can only say wow backwards with this right here, right?
Anything that was there any moments that made you realize that it's going forward, there's things that you need to do different?
Yes. There's a lot of things that I know that I need to think about doing different. One of those things is that valuing family time.
Right.
You know what? I know that, living here in Georgia and my family is in Illinois and Dallas, Texas, not taking advantage of that get-together time, Joe. So now, I've had a moment to be like, wow, you know what? I had that moment where I should have done something.
Right.
And now I haven't or don't have that opportunity to do that. So I really wish that I could really go back and get that time back.
Yeah.
I don't, because now it's a big adjustment of what we're doing right now.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Christmas hard.
Yep.
Thanksgiving hard.
Mm-hmm.
Can't see my mom like I want to, sister, brothers,
Yep.
family members.
Yeah.
So it's been different. No trips this year. Man. I want to go to a different country, beach, and all that good stuff. I was averaging like 4 trips a year, man.
Oh, wow. How many have you had so far?
0.
You didn't take one the first part of the year?
None.
Okay. He's waiting on later on.
Because I normally take it for my birthday, you know what I mean? So I had family come in from Detroit, so I was pushing it back.
Gotcha.
And Corona hit.
Yeah.
Messed up.
Mm-hmm.
So I had Jamaica or somewhere, Cancun, somewhere I wanted to go.
Right.
And that's hard to even plan because you don't know what to.
You know what to do.
Yeah.
I want to get stuck in another country.
Right.
I don't know Spanish.
Hey, Joe, can I ask?
Yeah, man.
So So let me ask you this question here, though. So if you had an opportunity, if you was well aware of the coronavirus early January, February, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you knew that it was coming and the effects that it was going to have on your weekly, monthly life, what would you have done different?
See, I'm already a prepper, so I always stack the house. My wife don't like it. I stack the house with food, paper towel, toilet tissue. So other than that, mainly I ain't no water. But mainly it's family time. That's the biggest thing, you know what I mean? not being able to see my mom anytime I feel like my grandma.
Right.
Anytime I feel like my nephew,
Yeah.
sister and brother, nieces. No, when you want to do something, like I said, I like to travel.
Right.
Seeing family and traveling is a big thing for me. So not being able to do those two things,
Yeah.
yeah, that messes me up.
Hey, so that's what I'm gonna say, Joe. Sound like Aunt is all about family, and I hear that Aunt is from D-Town, the Midwest, right? Hey, my dude. Shout out to the Midwest. I'm from the ILL, and my dude is from Michigan, right? Hey, so what about you, Joe? How would you handle that, bro?
If I would know different, what would I do differently?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would have what I ended up doing. I would have done from jump, which was I ended up doing a bunch of projects around the house.
Okay.
Stuff that I didn't have time to do before.
Right.
Because initially it was just 2 weeks. Like, hey, you're gonna be out for 2 weeks, and then you can come on back to work. And then 2 weeks turned into a month, and then that turned into 2 months.
Right.
It was almost gone.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get started on doing that until maybe like that 3rd week, I think. I started doing stuff around the. So I would have done that, and I also would have started some other business ventures at that time, planning, since I had nothing but time to do anything. Because at that time, the only place I was going was the grocery store and Home Depot or Lowe's. That was it.
That was the main thing.
That was it. Matter of fact, Spotify. You don't have Spotify, but anyway, Spotify, they do a 2020 wrap up, right? So, just to let you know how much time I had on my hand, I think it was I think I listened to T.I.'s podcast, and they were like, in one day, I had listened to like 9 hours.
Why?
Well, I was working. I was painting and doing my cabinets and all that, so I ain't had nothing else to do.
Okay.
But I was like, dang, 9 hours?
Right.
That's a whole day of doing listening.
It was a job.
Right.
Yeah, it was a job. But that's what I was, because at this time, a lot of the people that did well were the people that immediately capitalized on, okay, since people are going to be in the house, let me see what the void is going to be. Let me see what they're going to need while they are at home.
Right.
Like the guy I used to work with, shouts out to Mike, he's a barber that I used to work with in Buckhead. During that time period, he came up with a home barber kit. Wow. I think they were like $100-something. He would send you a clipper, a trimmer, and a nice little, he had the packaging, it was already in the box and everything else. And, you could buy it, and I think he would FaceTime you. Wow. And walk you through the cut, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so things
Right.
like so things like that. Another ingenious thing, people were doing virtual training for fitness, but those that were already ahead of the game within that, they were already in place. But a lot of other people started, because say if I'm a personal trainer, I can't get to my client. I don't want to catch anything. They don't want to catch anything.
Right.
I don't want them coming to my house, and I'm not going to theirs.
Right.
But we can do it over Zoom,
Right.
or some other virtual type platform.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and another thing, I can't think of the guy's name, but he came up with the virtual tax service. So, in order to get your stimulus, you had to have your taxes done for a certain year.
Right.
Yeah.
So the people that didn't have it, their taxes done, were scrambling. Tax place closed, so how you gonna get your stuff done?
Right.
So you could email all your stuff to this guy,
Mm.
and he would send it back to you.
Nice.
You know what I mean? So if I would have known it was coming, then I would have been trying to think of, okay, well, let me see what the void is going to be.
Right.
And try to capitalize on that. Yeah. So
That's
the one thing. But for a lot of us, we didn't see it.
right.
It's the first time. You didn't like it. We talked about one time. I wish I could do a COVID do-over.
Right.
Because I would have been able to get so much more done. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I did a lot though during my time. Only thing I wish I would have done was invest in the stock market a lot more.
Man.
Yeah.
Because before COVID hit, we was learning options.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting focused on options because I was getting money fast.
Right.
But I wasn't buying long-term stocks.
Right.
So I missed out on opportunities that way. But during the COVID time, I started gardening.
Yep.
Learned how to garden. starting from the ground up.
The only bad thing I think for some people was if you and your significant other or children or whatever else were having issues at that time, and it was it was kind of like a make or break situation for some families.
Right.
Like you either gonna say, look, I got to be here looking at you for this next month. I can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So either we gonna have to get it together.
Yeah.
Or we completely gone.
Right.
We can't even go apart because where I'm gonna go. You know what I mean? I can't go to mama's house. She don't want you.
Right.
Look, I understand you have problems, but you keep that over
there.
Right. you keep that over there. Yeah, so because like my mom and a lot of the older, initially I was taking it serious, but not as serious.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it was so much misinformation in the beginning.
Yeah.
But the older folk from jump was like, hey, this thing is real.
Yeah.
You stay over there. Don't come.
Yeah.
Don't come over here. So I think that was probably. I'm glad I went in this situation where I was, having to deal with somebody that I didn't necessarily want to be around. At that time.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? And you said something that was real impactful because I remember when we was here talking about about the stock market, right? We was talking about those long-term investments, talking about, hey, what's coming up?
Right.
What do we need to do? How do we invest our money, right? Mm-hmm. We had the stories that we've heard about, like the different politicians that, they knew about the COVID that was coming up, and they went and did their investments, right?
Right.
And I know that we talked about, hey, what investments are you doing? What investments should I do, right? It allows us to, look for that investment down the road. Because you know what? That's something that we as an African-American community, those are some things I know that we weren't taught. Right? Those are some of the things that we're learning as we go. Mm-hmm. And I know at my age, and I'm going to tell you my age, but, seasoned. But, but at seasoned age, you know what? I learned as we went along, and especially because during the COVID situation that we're doing right now, you know what? Now I'm glad that some of those conversations that we had here made me be able to take some of the things that you guys share with me and some of the things that I share with you guys and be like, let me drop a few dollars in here and see what happens. Now that we're doing that, I'm like, okay, we good, right? Yeah. And then, you know what, Joe, when you talk about relationships, right? The normal, we get so caught up in the everyday things that we do. Hey, I spend like a few hours here with you. Then I go to sleep and I'm out again. Right. We spend more time with people that we work with than those individuals that we are more intimate in those relationships with, right? Through right now, it's a big struggle because a lot of people are dealing with, you know what? I didn't know that about Sheila. I didn't know that about Carla or Carl or Trey, right? Because now it's like, I never had time to notice those things, right? So it makes it to the point where people are like, no, that's a deal breaker for me. Yeah. It wasn't a deal breaker for me before, but now it is because it's like, I'm good on that. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's, I can only say wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So what would you have done?
Man, look at here.
But also, did you have time off too?
No, so you know what? I didn't have time off. So it was a transition of like working from every day, all day, to making that transition of working from home. And the one struggle that I had was I'm a people person, right? So I had to be able to make that adaptation of being able to touch everyone every day. How you doing? What can I do for you? To more or less like, okay, how do I make this on a more consistent basis? Right. I had to go to those different tools of like WebEx, Microsoft Teams. I had to go to like some internal technology so I can be able to still have that connection. It's not the same,
right?
Because I can't be like, hey, Aunt, how you doing today? Yada, yada, yada. Hey, Joe, I saw you pulled up today. Hey, so you bought a nice car. Good job. How did you do that, right? So that I can share that testimony with others. So it's a big difference there, and it's a struggle for a lot of people.
Yeah, because that small talk help you get to know people too.
Exactly.
So I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. It's all about relationship building.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So anything else personally you would have done differently? If you would have known.
Man, you know what?
Was your wife already working from home?
No. No, right?
So y'all was stuck together.
Yeah. So you know what? The good thing about that is having that ability to know each other. You know each other. We laugh together. We cry together. You talked about crying earlier, right? Yeah. So we laugh together. We cry together. But the thing that we like to do together is that I will work upstairs. She work downstairs. When we get done a break, we would go outside, get a breath of fresh air, so that we can be able to like separate what's going on, what we're dealing with, right?
Right.
Even if we go out there together, or if we decide to go out there, on an individual basis, right? It gives us an opportunity to separate the two. I tell a lot of people that I work with, right, is to make sure that you have that work-life balance. Because if you don't have that work-life balance, it can become very overwhelming.
Right.
And you could take, what you do at the shop, what you do at the office, and that could carry right on into your personal life.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be like, dang, what am I going to do?
Right.
There's no separation. There's no cutoff. Because if I had a bad day with you, and if I'm going to my significant other, it's like, it's bleeding over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. It's crazy.
Yeah. On the part I had, my wife ended up working from home every day. But I was at home chilling.
Right.
But that damn keyboard, she was clicking that keyboard. I said, man, hear that every day?
Right.
Man.
She probably talk about
She can
two
talk,
words.
man. I don't know what she's doing. She can talk all day, talk to whoever she wants to.
Yeah.
But that keyboard, they get on my nerves, man. I'm talking about clack, clack, clack.
Yeah. Hey, but you know what? It probably gave you a different appreciation of what she does every day.
Nah, I said I gotta get up out of here. I gotta walk, work out, do my garden, try to find something to do around the house, man. And it always something to do around the house, but goddamn, that keyboard, man. They just want to tell me that she went in the meeting, you can't make no noise.
Right.
I can't make noise.
Exactly.
So speaking of the pandemic, okay, so how long you been married?
7 years now. It'll be 8 years in February.
Okay, so we're going up on 8 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ant had to take his wife's ring to get cleaned.
Yeah, I took it.
Okay, so the lady at the jewelry shop was saying due to the pandemic, since people are getting married, they're taking that cost and adding it on to the ring. So business was good.
They're not having a marriage.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But not having a wedding. Yeah, but not having a wedding. So instead of putting, I don't know, $10,000 on a wedding, you take partial of that and just throw it up extra on the ring.
So a lot of women walking around with big diamonds. Big diamonds.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So
big
diamonds.
Yeah. We talking about carrots.
Right.
Here we go.
Okay, so when you got married, you was already, you wasn't struggling.
Right.
This time around, you wasn't struggling.
Okay.
Financially.
This dude.
We going in.
Hey, here we go.
Yeah, we
Hey, Joe,
Terrence
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro.
So do you think your wife would have cared about size or how much it costs?
That's a good question, man.
It deserves a good answer.
I know.
Has she changed since she had the ring? Has she said something differently?
No.
Has she been like, it's time to upgrade?
Man, look here. I'm glad you asked.
All right, we coming with it now.
Hey, you know what? You talk to him? Because look, we was just shopping last week and she was like, hey, look, it's time for an upgrade. I'm like, hey, man, look here. Look what's on your finger now.
Right.
Hey, I almost had to go to Walmart and get a new mask. Hey, what are you talking about? Like a upgrade? Hey, I'm still paying on that. Well, you got like 2 payments. What the world? Right? So I'm like, hey, hold on.
They got 8 years?
Bruh.
Damn.
Hold up, time out. Hold up.
Hey, man.
8 years?
So when it's officially,
man.
So
hey, look.
you said February 8 years.
Yeah.
So when you hit the 8-year mark, you'll be done.
Nah, I'm exaggerating.
Okay.
Hey, look.
Rewind.
Hey, look.
I'm
So,
frugal, man.
hey, so this is my favorite line. However, comma. Hey man, look at it. So what I'm saying though is the value of the ring then is the same and then some now.
Right.
However, I totally understand the thought process behind, hey, look, I can't have a big wedding.
Right.
I can't have a big reception. So maybe we need to spend a bigger dollar amount on my ring. You know what? I was watching a TV show a couple weeks ago, and it talked about, are you more valued at the wedding or just being married? So you have to look at, is it all about the ring, or is it about us, all about us being together?
Is that a women thought? Woman thought?
That was a guy question. That's what made me go like, my dude, I'm with him.
Well, I think the guy is not concerned with
neither one.
The guy's definitely not concerned about the wedding.
Right.
Or the ring.
Or the ring.
The guy's like, I done found this the one. We're gonna do it. We're gonna
this life.
Right. We're gonna build together. You know,
let's put some money on some trips and invest.
And let's go.
And let's do it.
Yeah.
Because you got married. To me, I think you get married under God, right? Right. If I don't wear the ring tomorrow, I'm still married. It just a symbol.
It doesn't make a difference.
It just a symbol. So it don't make a difference. You know you married. She know you married. A ring really don't mean anything.
That is facts.
Right.
That's how I feel. And I've been told from my wife now that a ring doesn't mean that much.
Right.
She don't care.
After she got it the first time.
Yeah, but it is what it is. I understand though, because that's basically how we've been trained.
Right.
For a man to want to buy your woman that big diamond, and for her to want that, you know it. And that's the American way. So we are a capitalist society. So we want the big shiny things. Yeah. But as we get older, for some, it doesn't mean anything. Not that much.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? That's a true fact. But you know what? I used to think about one of my younger days is that, you know what? I always wanted my old lady to have that ring on her finger, that if someone saw her from across the room or either up close, it's like, damn, that dude loves her.
Yeah.
Right? And you know what? Ain't nothing I can say to her or do for her because she's getting it at home, right? That was my thing, and I apologize.
That's when you was younger, though.
Right.
Right. Now, wear that shit every day, all day. I ain't fucking playing.
She done paid for 8 years.
You gonna come back?
And upgrade. You better wear it.
But here's my whole thing with it. Okay, I mean, I can understand that they want something that looks nice or whatever, but once you get it, after a while, it's just still a ring. You know what I mean? You get a few compliments, that's it. You know, it's like getting a new car.
Right.
It's cool for a little while.
Right.
But after that, you start dropping fries in there and not washing it every week.
Right.
And, you know,
not getting it clean.
Right.
Like
and I understand, you know, people they say, oh, well, the value is gonna keep its value or whatever. Most of it, you ain't gonna trade it in. You ain't gonna pawn it.
Right.
Hey,
you know, unless you get on crack or something. So that really doesn't.
Yeah.
That really doesn't matter.
Yep. Hey,
so I just could. I don't know. I don't. I mean, I don't think you have to spend a whole lot on a ring. Now, if you got it like that, whatever. But I don't think people should put themselves in a financial bind.
Right.
For a ring.
For a ring.
Or a wedding.
Right. Or a wedding.
Or a wedding.
Boy.
Let me ask y'all this too, though. Are we as men jealous because our rings suck and they rings is nice though. Our rings.
I ain't gonna answer that. I'm like, I got a comment for that. Okay. Here we go.
I don't think we jealous, but it's like it is unfair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we don't. The women, they got cases and cases. Like when we went down to the store, the whole store is women's jewelry, and then they got like from here to here, with men's wedding bands.
No, it was about 4 bands and 2 bracelets.
Right, and that's how you get it. And most of the time they just solid, white gold or platinum or silver or whatever.
Right.
And if they do have a stone, it's something very. To get a nice men's ring, you almost have to get something
custom made.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but I don't. Okay, Let me ask you this: since you're a married man.
Hey, here we go. Hey, you know what? I'm saying, hey, you know what? Hey, my hand raised. Call on.
Right.
Hey, y'all know I can see y'all. I can hear y'all, right? I mean, hey, okay.
So how long did y'all date?
So we met in 2007, and we got married in 2013. So I would say 6 years. And my reasoning behind that is because I was married previously.
Okay.
And
was she married previously?
Never.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
So the thing behind that was...
Before you finish, do you talk like that to her?
Like
your
this.
voice.
Like
yeah,
politician.
Hey, she get this all the time. She be
Oh,
like...
you switch it up though. Like, go ahead, finish.
You gonna get home? Too big of
It all depends on the day, the mood. All right, here we go. So look, silly. Hey, you know I ain't fooling with you no more, right? But I'll be back next week. Hey, look. So 6 years before we got married, but the thing of it is, it took me 4 years before I proposed, and it's not that I didn't feel like she was the one, that she met all of my needs, or I had that feeling that she was the one, but it was about what I had went through previously, and that where I had that guard up to be like, hey, you know what? That's not somewhere I want to go again. It's all about, hey, you know what? I just want to have fun. I just want to date. Until it was just at that moment that it was like, you know what? She just might be that one.
Right.
But you have to understand or get to that point of knowing this is the one that you want to spend the rest of your life with. And it took a moment for that to happen for me.
Right.
So.
But that's understandable though.
Yeah.
Since you already been married before.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm sure she.
So did she ever give you an ultimatum?
Here we go. If you see this.
Now, if she watches this, I want her typing in saying,
She
lying.
Hey. She ain't gonna say you're lying. She'll come out and see y'all. But you know, it wasn't the thing of an ultimatum. It was the thing of when I did do it, it was like, what took you so long? Okay. Now, I think that women, they know sooner than men actually do. Because it's a different thing. Women love and interact with their heart. Men, we interact with a different sense. And y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That different muscle. Right. And it's like...
Speak for yourself, bro. Go ahead.
Okay. Right. So let me sit back on this. So you know what? Women, they love with their heart. Their interactions with their heart. Right. With men, it's all about that physical attraction. It's all about how do you satisfy me in a sexual way. Right? So it varies, man. It takes us a different time. And it takes us a minute to be like, hey, you know what? She meets all my needs.
Right. See, that's what I think 6 years is a good time. Now, some people tell me, well, that's too long.
Right.
But I don't. And I think
it's because y'all older too, though.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And I'm like him. I've been married
before. Right.
You know what I mean? So certain stuff that I just don't.
Yeah.
You know.
It's understandable. I think.
Right.
Whoever you're dating should understand that too. Is going to be.
But even when I was younger, I still don't think people say, oh well, a man, you see all these stupid polls and all. Oh, a man know within 6 months. So if you want, well, he may know.
Right.
But he don't know.
But he may not be necessarily ready to pull the trigger.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I can't speak from a woman's point of view, but I know from a man. Okay, if you consider a marriage, you got to think, okay, I'm gonna have to take care of her. If you're older, maybe she got kids. Okay, although maybe the child's father is there, but still I potentially have to take care of them. I have to have a house big enough,
right?
To take care of her and anything that comes along with her, whether it be another family member, whatever, plus my own.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I got to do that, so I have to make sure that, and you may not be able to line all that up within a certain period.
Also, if you're talking about a wedding. Now, for me as a man, I think money. I think money too. I love you and all that, but I'm thinking about finances. That's
right.
I after love, I'm thinking finance.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm thinking wedding, how much they cost. Which anything with a W on that wedding. From the cake to flowers, it go up triple, quadruple, whatever you want. What you doing?
You can say, I'm having a party, I need a cake. They be like, oh, it'll be $20. Oh, we're having a wedding before I need a cake. Oh, that'll be $4.
So I'm thinking financial wise for everything. So, but that lead into your relationship after the wedding.
Right.
So I'm thinking about everything for me. I think long term future. I think for women, they think those situations only. Like it's a wedding, it's a trip, it's that or this. I'm thinking 10,
long term,
10, 20, 25 years.
Right.
Nothing short term because you know we're gonna get there.
Right.
We already got it set, but if we ain't putting that money to the side to be prepared, then that's when the drama comes.
Man.
If you ain't prepared, and I think that's part of communication, but both of y'all have to understand. You can talk all you want to, but you got to be an understanding in the communication.
Yeah.
But you got to understand, financial wise, if you're not there, you're just not there. You can't force it financially because it's not gonna work.
Right.
To me, so if you're not thinking future terms, and then it already gonna be a disaster, or it's gonna be hard to get through whatever you're going through. So communication and finance go like hand in hand to me.
Yeah. Hey, and you know what? I was the best man at my pastor's wedding about 3 months ago, and the 4 things that I talked to him about, him and his wife too, is about in the role of a marriage. It's not easy, right? And you've been there before, Jay, right? It's not easy, right? So you need to make sure that in a marriage, it's all about clocking in. That's one job that you can never ever clock out of, right? It's all about making sure that you compromise, because things that with you and your significant other, you're not always going to see eye to eye on different things, but you have to meet in the middle somewhere, right? Communication is definitely a plus. And it's not only in marriages, it's in relationships personally and professionally as well, right? And then you have to make sure that it's all about that continuance of making that individual smile. Because in relationships, right, we do a lot of things of, let me take a step back. We do a lot of things of, we get to that comfortable level. Right? The things that I did in the beginning to get you, now I take a step back and it's like, hey, you know what, I remember back in the day, you used to like buy me flowers. You used to dress up nice when you come to bed, honey. And you used to go to, now you come to bed in a spacesuit. You got sweats. Hey, by the time I get to it, I'm tired. I'm good, right?
But before you finish, they say you sleep better naked. So if you don't go to bed naked, you're not gonna sleep better.
Facts.
That's facts.
Yeah, that's facts. But however, you still need to make sure. I'm with you now. I'm with you.
He's giving you something to go home with.
Come like a used.
Scientific.
Hey, come to bed like a used car.
Trying to save my life.
As is. As is what I'm talking about. But you know what? You think about those things about, what did you do to get me? Is those same things that you need to make sure you do to keep me. That's a difference. But a lot of times we get comfortable in relationships, not only women, but men as well.
So that's the advice that you gave to your pastor.
Yeah. Hey, don't forget about these things right here, bro. I got a video.
So you counseling the pastor.
Hey,
well, here's the thing.
What's wrong with that, though?
Nothing's wrong with it. I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
Well, maybe this is what's wrong.
But he had been married before, too.
Right.
Okay.
Well, here's the question that me and Ant want to know.
Yeah. Here we go. You speak for Ant?
Yeah.
All right.
Does your pastor know that the same man that gave him marriage advice also just bought a big bottle of Tito's to the barbershop?
Oh,
Hey, man, cut this shit off.
And a recovering, wagon.
Oh, now you telling me you recovered that. hey, you know what?
I don't even drink.
You ain't cutting my hair no more.
I don't even drink. What are you talking about?
All right.
No, but we've talked about But we talked about that before, and communication is key.
Yeah, totally, bro.
And why do you think that people don't or find it hard to communicate to the person that they decided to spend their life with?
That's
like we talked about the wedding. Do you think they're just trying to get to the wedding?
Not that. For me personally, I think everything end up start off on how the individual grow up.
Right.
I think it's if they communicate in their home or their example from home.
Right.
It's how they come in.
Yeah.
Some stuff that you just have to learn. I think for black people in general, a lot of us come from broken homes. A lot of us never seen a successful relationship, a marriage, or whatever. So everything we kind of behind. We got to learn. And for men, me speaking as a man, learning to communicate and not thinking she knows already is different. So that take time.
Right.
And I think we have to be patient with each other and also communicate.
You know what? When there's things that you do or say that doesn't sit well with me, right? Let's make sure that we sit down and we talk about it. Because the only way that we're going to prohibit this from happening again,
right,
is us sitting down and talking about it. We both have to have a open mind about expressing yourself. Because you guys probably heard the old phrase: "It's not what you say, it's how you say it."
Right.
Absolutely.
Right? Because if I have an issue with you and you talk about jumping off the table, hey, we at dinner and it's like, oh baby, great day, yada yada. Hey, but you know what? On the other side of it, you said ... and it's like, whoa, hold on.
Right.
Now I'm in defensive mode. But if you come to me and be like, hey baby, you know what? Yesterday when you talked about paying the bills or planning a trip or whatever in a more calm tone or calm whatever, then I'm more receptive. But if you come to me more aggressive, I'm like, hey, you know what? Back up, give me 50 feet.
Right.
Hey, you talking about COVID right now? Give me 6.
Right.
No, I'm gonna need you to add some more numbers to that and back up, right? So it's about communication, right? It's not, what you say is how you say it, and then it's all about, if I don't know that bothered you, then I'll do it again and then again, and it's gonna add more fuel to the fire.
Right.
But if we sit down and talk about it, it'll give us a better understanding going forward.
Do you drive your wife crazy with the voice when she get mad at you? when she on 10 and you
I'd be like, hey, look. She'd be like, you know what? I don't need that worksheet. What I need you to do, take you 5 and come back. And I'm like, okay, here we go.
So what you say? I ain't one of you little friends at work.
Oh my God, you must have been in the garage. She's like, hey, look. No, I'm gonna need you to, and then come back. But I try to be like an even keel.
Right.
I always try to make sure I treat people the way that I like to be treated.
Right.
And I would hate to use as an example, but just like when I come in here to you guys, I always be like, hey guys, how you doing?
Right.
Even when I leave, it's like, hey guys, y'all have a great day, yada yada yada. Because I expect for you to have that same with me, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But because if I come here one day and be like, you guys be like, hey,
right.
Hey, I got you next. Like, hey man, I've been sitting for 2 hours. All right,
it happens too. It happens.
I'll get to you, right? So you treat people the same way that you want to be treated.
So how important is counseling? You think? Not just within marriage relationships, but whether it be father, child, or even siblings. Because a lot of you talk about broken homes. They may not be broken from the standpoint of the mother and the father, but it could be a standpoint of some kind of tension between a brother and a sister, or 2 sisters, sister and a mom, a daughter and a mom. You see a lot of that.
Yeah. I think everybody, especially for black people, I think we all need a little counseling.
Right.
Like how often do you think?
I don't know. How often? I think you can't. It depends on the individual. I think counseling, because you don't know what every individual went through.
Right.
Like certain people, even though we all grew up, you may grow up in the same household with your brother and sister. Each one of y'all take something different from the household.
Right.
So because we all different individuals.
Yeah.
So you never know. I'm the middle child. I feel like I wasn't spoiled. My brother But I may hear something different from my sister or my
Right.
brother. They might
Yeah,
say
of
I was
course.
the spoiled one.
Right.
But I know for facts, I got facts on that. You know what I mean? But it is what it is.
Right.
But me personally, how I look at things, I try to figure out now. I think about 10 years ago, or maybe a little earlier than that, I figured this out. Why was my mother how she was? Now I try to see how she grew up.
Right.
Then I get a better understanding. I think if we do that as a people,
Wow.
then it may change your outlook on your parents.
Right.
Yeah.
Or then it may change the outlook on her mother.
Mm-hmm.
And then her mother, you might see something like, dang, this been going on in my family tree.
Right.
And it may give you a different outlook on something that you don't even have to pay a counselor to see that.
Mm-hmm.
But so many times they don't share that.
No, they don't. I think
And I think and I think some of it too is maybe maybe in their mind, maybe for protection,
yeah.
you know, or something so painful, maybe they don't even want to address it. But to me, certain things are generational.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if I'm feeling some kind of way, and I know that cousin whoever had the same issue, or you know, granddaddy or whoever else, then maybe I can deal with it a little bit better. But when you're going through something and you think that nobody else, or like everybody else in the family is okay, or everybody else seems so-called perfect, then it puts you in a bad space because you're like, well, dang, why am I, like the black sheep or whatever?
Right. But sometimes too, from me, see, as my mama open,
Yeah.
I can talk to her about a lot of stuff, and now when we have a little discussion about how I grew up and everything, I find out a lot of stuff she just didn't know because how she grew up.
Right.
So me, and I hope she understands. I'm not blaming her when I have these conversations with her. Right. I just want her to hear me out, and that's it. I'm not faulting you and have you at fault about anything. Right. I'm grown. I forgive you. It wasn't even that big deal. Me looking back on this, a lot of stuff happened. I ended up, if I would have done a little things a little differently, it ended up being a blessing anyway.
Right.
So hindsight, looking back, it ended up being a blessing, but I had to go through something to get to that blessing.
Right.
To be in the situation I'm in. I think for a lot of people, if they just don't keep on thinking about what happened 10, 5, 2, 6 months ago, they can be further along in life. And I believe you have to understand your family tree. Why your daddy might have been drinking. Right. Where he get that from. What may have triggered that drinking. Same for your mother.
Yeah.
Why my brothers, what did he see to make him do something? You know what I mean? You just don't know because you're not around your, even though you're in the same home, not around your siblings enough to see something that they may not have seen, what they may have seen, but then share it with you or with anybody. So you never know.
Yeah. Hey, you know what, Joe, when you talk about like counseling, as a black man, we're always been taught that you're supposed to be the stronger one. Right? Any and everything that goes on in your daily life, you're supposed to take on that and just move forward with it, right? Us going to talk to somebody else was a sign of weakness, right? I can remember back when being raised by my grandparents, my mother had me when I was young, but seeing my grandfather always taking on the woes of the everyday, right? I never seen him ever say, I need to go talk to my brother, I need to go talk to my sister, I need to go talk to pastor about ... It was like, I got this, I'll figure it out, right? And that's something that's been passed down from generation to generation. But you gotta know that backstory though, and you know what I mean?
Right.
Because how do I get here? How do I become this king? And that's what we looked at as black men, right? We looked at it as kings, right? And we looked at, I'll take this on, but the moment that I go to say I need to talk to somebody, oh, now you weak. Right? So it's nothing wrong with being able to go and talk to someone. The thing when you go to talk to someone, make sure it's someone outside of your circle.
Right.
Because if it's someone inside of your circle, they already got an unconscious bias.
Right.
I already know I heard about Sheila talking about, just an example. I don't know Sheila. Hey, let's look at her name is her ex, right? So if we talk, and your significant other say, hey, you know what, Joe this, he don't talk to me, he don't understand me, he doesn't ... If I go to your auntie and she's like, yeah, I already heard about him, he don't listen, he don't do ... So all her advice is all about all those things I've already heard about you, right? So I need to have someone that's on the outside that has no understanding, no connection about what's going on right here.
Right.
So she can give you some good advice.
Right.
But it's hard that for us to accept the fact that we need to go talk to someone outside. I have a couple friends right now that are going through this COVID thing, right? Mm-hmm. They're, been married for years. Right now, they're going through like separation. They're going through, I didn't know this about my significant other, right? We need to go through counseling. We need to separate, right? And then when they talk to an outside in, and then that person tells them, hey, you know what? You guys really don't know each other. You feel like this about bills. You feel about family this way, right? Y'all not on the same page about growing older together. And it's hard, and I would say for me as a black man, it's hard for me to be like, you don't know me. How you gonna say this about me? I'm strong. I'm the king of my castle. I do A, B, and C. Right. But it's like, let me explain to you. You say this, she says that.
Right.
Y'all not on the same page.
Yeah.
It's a hard struggle. Mm-hmm. So. Yeah. And then when it comes to like families, like I have two amazing siblings, right? We don't always see eye to eye. We grew up in the same household, different fathers, but the same mother with the same values. However, is what I always say, is that we grow up and we go older, we experience different things, and that dictates of who we are, right, of what we go through. So you may need to go talk to somebody, right, to help bring all that back together.
Yeah.
How would you handle that, Playboy?
I don't mind counseling.
Okay.
I think it's a great, if you got a good counselor.
Yeah, that's another thing.
You got to find a good counselor.
How do you define a good counselor, though?
To me, somebody that's going to offer you some kind of feedback.
Right.
Some other, maybe a different way of thinking of things. Instead of somebody just to sit and listen.
Right.
Because some of them just sit and listen and don't offer you. Right. Like I am paying here.
I want to hear something.
Right. You right. Tell me something.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So that's what I say. And it doesn't always necessarily have to be a certified therapist.
Right.
You do have some people that have an actual gift of being able to maybe guide you in the right direction. They're few and far between, but they are, some. You got. I would hope, I know you got at least one homeboy that's gonna tell you if you're wrong. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Whereas, although he has a vested interest in y'all's friendship, right, he's gonna be like, look, bro, you tripping.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas somebody else, oh man, forget that,
Yeah.
What all this other type of
stuff. But a lot of times, if you do have that homeboy to tell you that, will you listen to that homeboy?
Here we go.
That's what a lot of people. That's why you probably need.
Yeah, but
that person that's not biased or your
right,
homeboy, because it's hard to listen to that homeboy, and it's easy to listen to a stranger.
I got one for this.
I think, and I always say, I'm talking about people that now, granted, I'm about to say, people that got some sense. Now that's people's definition is different to that.
That is true.
But I'm talking about the type of person, like, say if I'm your homeboy and I tell you, Terrence, you're wrong, you need to do this, you need to quit, whatever. Even if you get mad with me,
right?
When you go home at night and it's quiet,
yep,
it's time to lay down, it's just you and God.
Yep.
You're gonna think, well, damn, maybe I am tripping.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If you're that type of person, that is self-reflective,
yep,
then I think that you can take in advice from somebody. Now, some people, directly while you're talking to them, you can look in their eyes and see they checked out.
Yep.
Or before you can finish your sentence, they like, yeah, but them type people, you really, a counselor probably couldn't even help that type of person. You know what I mean? You have to be, I feel like if you're talking to somebody about something, then you're really looking for an answer instead of just venting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think if you're going to present an issue, you have to also be open to receive it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what, Jay, that leads to a conversation we had earlier, right? It's all about when you talk about needing someone to vent to, someone to give you some feedback or consult you. I always look at the philosophy of how can a single woman tell a married woman how to be married if you never ever walked in these shoes? And that goes to a guy's perspective as well. How can a single guy tell a married man how to be married if you ain't never walked in these shoes, playboy?
Right.
Or playgirl?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? How can you tell me about that? Because it's easy for me to say, here we go. It's easy for me to walk in here to tell you guys, hey, you know what? I would have never ever lined that guy's hair that way, or I wouldn't have shaved him this way.
Right.
Or how can you tell me that if you've never been to barber school, you never stood in these shoes over here, and you sat behind somebody and had to line them or shave them, right?
Right.
Y'all don't look at me like, bruh, kick rocks. Because
Right.
that stuff you can't relate to me, right?
Right.
But unless I've ever been to like barber school or ever stood in you guys' shoes 8 hours a day plus and like line somebody, shave somebody, then you'll be more receptive
Right.
to that. But somebody that's like walking down the street, you like, man, if you don't get out here with that shenanigans.
Right.
Or when I leave, you be like, bruh, oh, he killing me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, you know, it's when it comes to getting advice from others, you have to make sure that it's from someone that's a reliable source, someone who has an unconscious bias,
Right.
someone who's not already has looking at you sideways or already have like a perspective of you going into that.
Right.
interaction.
Yeah. I don't, touching on what you said, I don't think you should ever have start off your advice. Well, if it was me,
Boy, look at
you
here.
know what I mean.
There we go.
Just like if you single, you shouldn't be offering advice to your married friends.
Right.
And if you don't have kids, you shouldn't really be offering your advice to somebody that has children because you haven't experienced it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Exactly.
Before I had kids, I would have sworn, certain I see little kids running around, man. When I have kids, I ain't gonna do whatever. Like, nah. Once I had them, as long as y'all sitting down and being still, I don't care what you're doing.
Yeah.
Just sit down and be still.
Right.
That's all. So it varies. You have to really, and I think when you're, like I say, when you're seeking out advice from people, you also have to take that into consideration. Let
Right.
me, if I am looking to start a say a transportation business.
Yep.
I can't take advice from somebody that's never been in that.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense for me to listen to somebody. Well, I was reading on the internet and they saying that transportation in 2020 gonna be X, Y, Z, and they don't have any clue what they're talking about.
Yep.
Whereas if I talk with somebody that has a fleet of trucks, and they tell, well, look, bro, this is gonna be this is where it's going.
Right.
Who I'm gonna listen to? Exactly.
The one who's walked in those shoes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the Bible says, sweet. I think about it. So,
Here we go.
Seek wise counsel. If it ain't in there, it ought to be.
Yeah. All right. I got you.
Right.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, you know what? You guys have brought up some amazing topics, right? Let's talk about what we're dealing with right now. COVID and our current politics. And after this, guys, I'm done. Because you guys really have made me think about some things, share some ideas of personally, and some from other things I've encountered with friends. And then, with you guys too, right?
Right.
So let's turn it up to something current right now.
Current.
Yeah. Politics and COVID.
Politics and COVID.
Shish.
Take the vaccine.
Yeah. Here we go. Lean with it, rock with it. We're gonna turn this way.
You can't. I don't think you can say vaccine on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't think so. You gonna take that needle?
You gonna take the needle? You gonna take the
Right.
needle?
Right.
Nah. That's it. In discussion.
What about 6 months from now, man?
Heck nah.
Would be required to travel?
Heck nah.
No.
Would you
No
say you and
States.
your wife like to travel, bro?
Better
In
get
my city. Vegas.
That's too far of a drive.
Right.
Oh, we trying to drive. Yo, you didn't get on the flight.
East Coast and West Coast.
They don't let you fly.
I'm talking about international.
But I take my ginger. Do that count?
A shot of ginger.
A shot of ginger.
I ain't no doctor, bro. I can't.
Vitamin D.
Yeah.
That vitamin D3, 5,000 milligrams. That's what you need, though. People take your vitamin D3, your vitamin C, your ginger. What else you need?
Hey, you took that.
That's what they probably don't want.
What's that? Sea moss.
Sea moss. I take sea moss.
What about turmeric?
I take turmeric.
Oh, okay.
I got turmeric root. I juice.
Oh, you good?
I'm good. I take my vitamins.
Yeah. Big J, what you gonna do?
I ain't in a rush to take it. I'm gonna see what happens.
Yeah.
So you will take the needle.
No, I'm gonna see what happens.
A year from now.
That's too soon.
How many years?
Maybe about 15.
Wow.
Also, you waiting to see if the commercial's gonna come
Yeah,
out.
when the commercials start coming out, yeah.
But they say you can't sue them anyway.
It don't matter. I want to live.
They're gonna say you can't live without the vaccine. I mean the needle.
Well, we gonna see.
What about you?
Take it day by day.
Hey, you know what? And
Before you, also to piggyback off the question, if they say that you can't work your job without the vaccine, that's another thing people not really talking about.
you know what? And
Not about flying, but if you can't work your job, even as barbers, they might say we can't get our license.
It's
I don't know if
possible.
we thought about that.
right.
I renewed my license already for the next 2 years. I don't
Yeah.
know if they can just say you can't cut no more if you don't take it.
Right.
But if that do come up, what's your thoughts on that? What is your next move?
Man, that's a good question. You know what? This is what I'll say, and I have two family members that are in that are essential workers. They're in a hospital
Right.
working, right? And I asked them just 2 weeks ago because we have weekly family calls, and I was asking, you know what? We have this new vaccine coming out. You know, what are you guys gonna do? Both their responses was, I'm gonna wait.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna wait 6 months to a year to find out what's the reaction to the people that are taking the different the vaccine like right now. Yeah, you know, we see that different people are having like different reactions. Some people are having reactions. Some people are having those like flu reactions. I'm having like pain in my arm. I'm having like nausea. I'm having tiredness. Different things, right?
Yeah.
So that's a personal preference, right?
Right.
I can think back on the what was it? The Tuskegee
Exactly.
experiment before, right?
Yeah.
You know what? A lot of us in the African communities are like, I'm good on that because we take that trip back down memory lane of, hey, that's how they got rid of a lot of us. We was that test dummy,
Right.
and then now a lot of us passed away, and here we go.
But they still test different stuff on us.
Right. All the
you gotta
time.
look at, even people don't know your insurance.
Right.
It depends on if you're on Medicaid, if you have
Medical
health
healthcare,
yeah.
Yeah.
If you're on what you call it, if you're on food stamps, forgive me.
Whatever.
Whatever.
If you whatever.
Yeah.
They may give you a different vaccine because of what type of insurance you have.
Right.
They do that. I don't
Right.
know if I can say that on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they do that.
Yeah.
So everybody's not gonna get treated fairly or equally
Yeah.
because we don't know what chemicals they putting in and stuff.
Right.
We
Right.
just don't know. I'm allergic to all that. To my doctor, I'm allergic. I have papers saying I'm allergic to it. I'm already, so I can't take it because I'll be messed up.
Yeah. But you know what? Right here is funny. Hey, right now I'm like, I don't know. Jay.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm 50-50 right now.
Take it when that
But-
time comes.
And that's another thing. I think we should have that communication with our kids and our significant and family. Period.
Yep.
Because if we can't work, have you thought about what's the game plan? Have you thought about how you gonna feed yourself, clothe yourself?
Yep.
You might have to look up farming,
Right.
how to grow some food.
Right. Yeah.
This stuff can get real.
Yeah.
And how you gonna make money?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the major takeaway for me with COVID is realizing that you're gonna have to have more than one stream of
Yeah.
income.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm finding out they saying that the 7 income thing is false. They say you really need 24 streams of income, not 7. 24.
Wow.
7 seem more realistic,
Right.
but 24, wow.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So I think me, like I said, I think future terms and how much your mortgage or rent. What can I sustain entertain if anything really do come up. Like I said, pack them beans up, chili beans, whatever, water. You just don't know, man. Not that I'm not scared, but I just want to be prepared.
Right.
I think once you prepare, make a lot more things easier.
Right.
Don't overdo it. Spending. Like I said, I ain't bought no shoes this year. I'm planning to put some workout shoes.
Oh wow.
And I'm planning on 2021 not to buy nothing because I feel like I don't need anything.
Right.
I wear the same thing over and over again.
Right.
I ain't trying to go nowhere. I ain't trying to impress nobody too.
Yeah.
So me, I'm thinking more future terms.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a futuristic thinker.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Hey, you know what, guys? You know, I first I want to say thank you for allowing me to sit in with you guys on this amazing conversations, man. This is something that I think that these are some constant conversations that need to be held, right?
Yeah.
And I think that the approach that you guys are doing right now, hey, I wish you guys well. Continue to do that, and wow, that's all I can say.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming
I
out.
want to say
Appreciate you
thank you,
coming out,
guys. Hey, I can't hug you and all that. Hey, man, you guys, hey, I wish you guys well. Hey, to all the people that's out there watching, amazing guys, great conversations. Continue to listen to these guys. They have great insight, great mindsets when it talks about professional views, personal views, and financial views as well. Hey, I'm out. I'm gonna let these
And the
guys-
last thing we're gonna say, which we don't never say that we need to say, is hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, hit the subscribe button.
Subscribe and like. Tell your friends. We're trying to build it up.
Yeah.
We the Blueprint.
Shout out to We the Fifth. Subscribe to his
Yeah,
page.
We the Fifth. You need any video work?
Yeah. Instagram.
We the Fifth. On Instagram.
Anything else?
That's it. We out of here. Appreciate you, Terrence.
Hey,
Yeah, appreciate it.
you're good.
All right.